Oh my goodness, I thought you were Carol. Well, anyway, I'm Bob.
I think you know this. This is Born Free. Born free as the wind blows, as free as the grass grows, born free to follow your heart. Live free and beauty surrounds you. The world still astounds you each time you look at the stars. Stay free where no one's divide you. You're free as the roaring tide, so there's no need to hide. Everybody, born free, and life is worth living, but only worth living 'cause you're born free.
Welcome to Valley Unitarian Universalist Congregation. My name is Tara Sowers, she, her, and I will be leading our service today. For starting this week, I decided to create a service bulletin, which is, if you scan the QR code, if you're interested in getting like a preview of the service so you can follow along and you know what to expect, that's an option, so I can. For anyone who likes structure and knowing what to expect, it's kind of a nice thing. Yeah. The theme of our service today is This I Believe, where we will explore different perspectives and experiences that have shaped our spirituality. Later in the service, Janet Pitsley and Bobby Riles will be sharing their personal experiences of stories of how their spiritual identities have transformed over the years. Unitarian Universalism does not have a creed, but we do have a set of values that guide our actions and choices and help us feel a sense of unity and belonging. One of these values is pluralism, which means that we embrace and celebrate each other's differences and the diversity of opinions that forms the mosaic of our congregation. Some of us have experience with a structured religion that is very different from Unitarianism. Some of us were Unitarian from a young age, and some of us had little to no religious upbringing. Regardless of where you came from or what you have been through on your spiritual journey, you belong here. Do we have any visitors with us today? Anyone here for the first time? We all know each other. All right. Well, we're happy that everyone is here with us. Our community is rooted in love, inclusion, and justice, and we're excited to share this space together. Even if you aren't new, if you want to join the Welcome Circle, do we have Doug here today, or is he not here? He's okay. So will we have a Welcome Circle? We will have a Welcome Circle. Very good. So you can join the Welcome Circle, grab a snack and a beverage, and then our Welcome Circle will be over there by the Welcome Circle sign. And we can discuss, ask questions, meet each other, get to know each other even better. So thank you for being here. And pastoral care is our next topic. So pastoral care is offered to those who need a listening ear or a shoulder to cry on. This Sunday, December 28th, 2025, Janet Cantley will be in the sanctuary. Janet, there you are. And Janet will be available after the service for anyone who wants to talk. And Melissa Bush will be our online pastoral care associate. Melissa will monitor the YouTube chat and facilitate the after-service Zoom meeting. For any online attendees, please be aware that you cannot send a private message on YouTube, so please send an email to pastoralcare@vuu.org if you want to contact our pastoral care team. And Caring Neighbors works to foster a loving and caring community in which VUU members and friends nurture, support, and assist each other through life's joys and trials with things like meals, social gatherings, and rides. If you need to reach Caring Neighbors, you can reach them at caringneighbors@vuu.org. And let's do a welcome wave to our online friends. And now we're going to light our chalice. Please join me in the chalice lighting words. We kindle this flame, symbol of our faith, for the light of truth, the warmth of community, and the fire of love, which calls us to work for justice. Our invitation to worship this morning comes from Reverend Ade Ama Kraba.
Let this year be a clean slate for new beginnings.
I pray for stamina to finish things left uncompleted, to call on people I neglected last year.
I pray for courage to rally in the cause for peace and justice, to speak out in support when others remain silent.
I pray for empathy to better understand the pain and suffering of others, to continue engaging heart to heart.
I pray for patience when seeking resolutions to problems, when seeking a new beginning after an ending.
I pray for creativity in seeking new meaning in service, engaging others in service to the beloved community.
I pray for peace between friends and families, between communities and countries.
All these things I pray for in this time of beginning, in this new year.
If you are able and willing, we'd love to have you stand and join us for the singing of 128, For All That Is Our Life. For all that is our life, we sing our thanks and praise. For all life is a gift which we are called to use to build the common good and make our own days glad. for failures, pain, and loss, for each new way we learn, for fearful hours that pass, we come with praise and thanks. For all that is our life, for all that is our life, we sing our thanks and praise. For all life is a gift which we are called to use to build the common good and make our own days glad.
Hello, all right. Do we have any kids in the audience that might want to come up? A few of you. I'm going to sit down here. So, hi. I think I know you. I know all of you. So, today the theme is this I believe. So we're all talking today about what we believe and like the idea of belief. And one thing that's kind of cool, there's this project called This I Believe, which is an essay project. You guys probably don't like writing essays, do you? Or do you? No, terrible. Well, sometimes it can be fun if you write an essay about something that's important to you. No, still not fun. Anyway, so there's this class, a 7th grade class, I believe it was in Rhode Island, where this one 7th grader named Nat Deacon wrote an essay about what he believed. And so everyone in the whole class had to write an essay about something that they believed in. And his was really interesting. He actually wanted to write an essay about how belief, if you hold a belief too strongly, it can sometimes actually be problematic. Can you imagine how holding a belief too strongly might be problematic? It means it creates a problem. So, well, let me read a little bit from his essay and maybe you'll understand. So Nat Deacon says, I believe that it is okay to not have any strong beliefs. Everyone has such very different beliefs that it has come to the point where I don't care. Why in the world does everyone feel the need to tell everyone exactly what he or she thinks about everything? What I think is, if you believe in something, you should actually do something about it. Good point. He goes on, let's think about all bad human acts. What do they all have in common? They all happened because of beliefs. Racism is a belief, sexism is a belief, homophobia is a belief, anti-Semitism is a belief. The list just keeps going on and on. Entire hate groups were formed out of beliefs. People are being killed as we speak because of beliefs. Even good beliefs are often started as a reaction to bad ones. No one would need to fight for equality if people didn't believe in inequality. Maybe if everyone just stepped back for a second, they would realize that in the scheme of things, what they believe does not matter. It is what they do that matters. Don't get me wrong, I have nothing against people who believe strongly in their cause. It's just people who do nothing about their beliefs other than talk about them that really bothers me. Unquote. Have you guys ever met someone who just talks about the way things should be, but they don't actually do things to make it right? Yeah, how do you feel about that? That's not very good, right? Do you guys know what integrity means? Have you heard about the word integrity? Integrity means that you live your life in accordance with, like, in alignment with the values that you hold, instead of just like saying something and then doing something else, right? Like if you believe that it's important to be honest, do you believe it's important to be honest? Then you live an honest life, right? You don't just say, well, you should be honest, or honesty is important, but then you go around lying all the time. That would not be having integrity. So Deacon, that's his last name, Nat Deacon, is really talking about having integrity, like showing up and actually taking action on the things that you believe. Nat concludes his essay by discussing the idea that sometimes our opinions get in the way of seeing things clearly. He says, I think it is okay to not strongly believe in anything. If everyone just dropped all their opinions and looked at the problems of this world, then it would be a lot easier to solve them, and the world would be a better place. This I believe, unquote. So maybe instead of clinging to our ideas as if we're so sure that they're the right way, the only way it should be, it might be better to look at the world with fresh eyes and an open mind, which allows for creative solutions. It allows for more cooperation. And we can still hold our values firmly, right? If we have strong values about what we believe is right. But we can also keep our minds open and flexible to new ideas, new ways of thinking, and that helps us grow. All right. So now you guys can go off to your classrooms. We're having like a game day, I think. Yeah! Woo, game day. Let's all take a deep breath together. A new calendar year can be an invitation to reflect and look back at where we've been and look forward to who we are becoming. In a culture that often emphasizes resolutions of self-improvement fueled by pressure and perfectionism, I find it more nourishing to have a practice of setting intentions. Every year, I have a personal tradition of choosing a word or a phrase to be my theme for the year. One of my recent phrases was everyday mindfulness, to help remind me to be mindful when I'm doing everyday tasks like walking the dog or washing the dishes. A few years ago, I had the theme of less but better, which was about redesigning my life wherever and whenever possible to make choices that favored simplicity and essentialism. An intention is not a demand that we put on ourselves. It is a direction we choose. It's a way of saying, this year, I intend to live with more awareness, with more courage, with more compassion. Perhaps this is a year to make peace with uncertainty. Perhaps it is a year to let go of the beliefs that no longer serve us. Or perhaps it is simply a year to show up for the people we love with a little more presence. I invite you to take a moment to sit in reflection about a theme or a word that represents your intention for the coming year. Take a moment and think about this past year. What was nourishing to you that you would like to continue experiencing? What experiences or beliefs or habits or people would you like to let go of? What qualities would you like to bring in this coming year? You may sit in reflection on this, maybe taking a breath in and thinking of a word or a phrase of something you would like to invite in, breathing out and thinking of something you want to let go. Or you might want to get up and light a candle or add some drops of water to our fountain, or maybe write a note in our collective journal in honor of this New Year's intention.
We have special guest performance for this New Year's Day song by Pentatonics. This is the Redwitz family. Izzy and Cora Redwitz are joining us.
Tonight the apple falls in time. We'll sing along with Auld Lang Syne and throw confetti high up into space. Tomorrow morning when we wake, this town will be a different place. The past will wash away like coffee stains. We could be kings of the world on top of a nation. It's a celebration of the moments to come. The city's on fire. We're holding up lighters, raising them higher, and we've only begun. Take me all the way. Hear me when I say, let's kiss the past away like New Year's Day. Take me all the way.
Another year with deep divine. We'll play it back and slow rewind and laugh about the cold and bitter nights. We'll round away our maps and stars, hold on tight to fragile hearts, and keep our friends forever by our side.
We could be kings of the world on top of a nation.
It's a celebration of the moments to come. The city's on fire. We're holding up lighters, raising them higher, and we've only begun.
Take me all the way. Hear me when I say, let's kiss the past away like New Year's Day. Take me all the way. Hear me when I say, it's time to celebrate like New Year's morning breaks. Take my hand, wide awake, like arms wide
Now I'd like to invite Janice Pitsley, followed by Bobby Riles, to do their This I Believe reflections.
I invented Unitarian Universalism all by myself. Those aren't my words, but there was some recognition when I read them. It's a quote from Kay Montgomery, former executive director of the Unitarian Universalist Association. She goes on to say that she was raised Catholic, as I was, and attended a Catholic school, as I did, and that the Jesuits would have been astonished at what they had fashioned. A teenager trying to figure out what religion was and could be, and whether it was even possible to be an actual member of an actual church. She didn't think so. At that age, I didn't either. But later in life, she was astonished when she happened upon a book that described Unitarian Universalism. She realized that this thing she had invented actually existed. A richer version than she imagined, but still identifiably hers. She joined a church and went on to lead the organization. My experience of astonishment was hearing an interview 25 years ago with VUU minister and theologian, Reverend Forrest Church. Quoting from that interview, "It's so much more important to move beyond I know this isn't true, or I'm a this, or I'm a that, to recognize that I and the Catholics and the atheists have a zillion times more in common than will ever separate us." I heard this and was hooked. I became a member of VUU just a few months later. I am not a joiner. I'm an introvert who never really joined much of anything. But in middle age, I was compelled to join a church for the first time in my life. I didn't know how meaningful then this would be. I was thrilled to find a faith of both and believing. UU has that quality in its very structure. Two movements, Unitarians and Universalists, joined together. I loved finding this. It mirrored my own artistic philosophy of creating beauty and meaning through a synthesis of opposites. And in some ways, the two U's are opposites. They complement each other, with Unitarian emphasis on reason and Universalist emphasis on love. UU's very structure is one of heart and mind joined together. There is so much power in that small word, and. To me, it represents a faith that is inclusive and spacious, that understands wandering and exploration as part of spiritual formation and spiritual growth. With the perspective of age, I realize now that my Catholic education in some ways actually pointed me to Unitarian Universalism. In clearing out decades of files, I found an 8th grade paper that my mother had saved, in which I wrote glowingly about Martin Luther. Yes, the Martin Luther who rejected the authority of the Pope, and how much he cared about what he thought was right. Sister Mary Paula wrote this in ink that is still bright red. Excellent. You caught the spirit of this assignment. You know, 10 years ago, a paper like this would have merited you an F, expulsion from school, and you and your parents would probably be refused the sacraments. I hope you continue to care. Keep it up. The following year, in Brother Leo's English class, our reading assignment was Catcher in the Rye. He told us it wasn't allowed in the library or school bookstore, so we were to purchase it elsewhere. I am so grateful for their lessons. In my formative years, They encouraged both and thinking, not either or. You can be Catholic and inspired by Martin Luther. You can be in this Catholic high school and learn lessons from a book that is banned here. You can be religious and think critically. I was taught to question authority, religious authority. Their teaching during the progressive climate post-Vatican II simmered for decades, and I believe now eventually guided me to an inclusive spiritual community of both and thinking, a faith of many windows. With some surprise, in recent years, I've circled back to the religion I grew up in. I've found what Buddhists might call a middle way, not participating as I did growing up, but not dismissing it either. Finding the middle way has been very meaningful to me in recent years as I've dealt with lung cancer. A few days before my surgery, I spoke with Reverend Andy, our settled minister at the time. He asked a question I will carry with me always, simply, how is your spirit? When the cancer returned, this time with an even more difficult prognosis, my oncologist gave me this advice. If you have a spiritual community, you should go there. I am grateful for this combined wisdom of a minister and a doctor. Look inward and go to your community, both and. It's been a recipe for hope. I hear Reverend Andy's question every day. We all have our own way of facing that question, if we choose to. For me, I've sought solace and inspiration from the wisdom of spiritual teachers, ancient and contemporary. The wisdom of Saint Benedict, for example, namesake of the Catholic Church that built this sanctuary. I love that the system for spiritual living he created more than 1,500 years ago, a framework of friendship, community, hospitality, and stewardship, has so much in common with our own VUU values. And I look to contemporary wisdom, often from brilliant Episcopalian women priests and theologians who present Christianity through a feminist lens. Their teachings illuminate and integrate so much, providing a lifeline for people like me, a way of holding together part of a tradition while also hoping for its renewal. It makes me feel part of a larger story, and for me, that is life-affirming. And I followed my oncologist's advice and went to my spiritual community. Thank goodness we all have one. Reverend Sarah understands the deep need for community, perhaps now more than ever. Priest and theologian Henry Nouwen says that community is the fruit of our capacity to make the interest of others more important than their own. This happens in so many ways at VUU. I've benefited beyond measure from our dear pastoral care volunteers. I've witnessed in them the capacity to make the interest of others more important than their own, voluntary companions to those struggling with grief and difficult challenges. In closing, it seems I may have fallen short in this assignment to discuss what I believe. The truth is, I really struggle with the word belief. It can create an immediate separation and a cause for debate. It can imply fixed certainty and lack of humility. Quoting Reverend Church again, here we are in this tiny speck in the cosmos, arguing over who has the best insider information on the cosmos. Is it Jesus? Is it Buddha? Is it Marx? Is it Freud? For me, religion is not knowing the answer, but being in awe of the whole process and celebrating it. I have never referred to myself as being a believer or not a believer. I recognize what is true to me. Even as a child, for whatever reason, I didn't have the childlike vision of God up in heaven. I recognize something both greater than me and in each of us. And now I recognize God as even more expansive. Western Christianity, not the kind we typically encounter in the news, is finally catching up with something many of us knew all along. Dismissed as animism or paganism in the past, there's now a paradigm shift to recognize the soul of nature. Franciscan priest Richard Rohr says that when we encounter other human beings, a mountain, a blade of grass, a spider web, or a starling, then we experience the universe as a communion of subjects, not a collection of objects. There's something both expansive and intimate in that recognition. It's both and. Call it belief, if you will. It's something that feels beautiful to me and true. I want to thank the worship associates who've been so patient and generous throughout this process. And I want to thank all of you for listening.
Good morning, my name is Bobby Riles, and my pronouns are she, her. And that's a tough act to follow. Really great reflection. I had to change the title of my reflection today from This I Believe to, well, is the title up here somewhere? Yeah. Brief History of My Holy Confusion. It just felt more accurate. My beliefs have run the gamut, from an evangelical fundamentalist childhood through decades of progressive Christianity to uncertainty in my senior years. In other words, I've changed my mind more than once. And I think it's safe to say that God and I have had a complicated relationship over the years. This I believed from ages 10 to 17, that I was born again because I'd said a simple prayer and asked Jesus to be my personal Savior. I was very sincere. I was also 10. This I believed from ages 17 to 20, that I was going to hell because I'd discovered I was a lesbian. It turns out that self-discovery can sometimes come with a very high and a very hot price tag. This I believed from ages 20 to 24, that AIDS was God's punishment for homosexuality, and that it was only a matter of time that he came for me. He, because God was a man, there was no question in my mind. This I believed from ages 24 to 34, that God loved me just the way I was, and heaven was back on the table. Well, you see, I found Progressive Methodist Church. This I believed from ages 34 to 51, that my Christian faith was solid and settled, case closed, faith filed. This I believed from ages 51 to 60, that I wasn't sure what I believed, which was unsettling, yet a belief nonetheless. This I believed from age 60 to today, just 5 years later, that I may have been duped by religion, but I'm not even quite sure. Maybe I simply believed what I was taught by people who loved me. in a world that didn't leave much room for doubt. Today, this is what I believe, that Jesus' teachings are still relevant, especially now. Love your neighbor, care for the least of these, choose mercy, do justice, don't be a jerk. This I also believe, that I'm deeply confused, and oddly enough, that may be the most honest thing I've ever believed. I can no longer reconcile the vengeful God of the Old Testament, the one who haunted me in my youth, with the cool, compassionate Jesus who preached grace and mercy. It doesn't work for me anymore. Not logically, not spiritually, not even with beautiful stained glass windows, a grand pipe organ, and a sanctuary full of loving longtime friends. So what happened to my Christian faith, you ask? Well, I fell in love, and she was an atheist. We talked a lot. It's definitely been a process. Now I'm on a different kind of faith journey, one that doesn't require certainty, but does require courage, because uncertainty is hard. These days, my faith looks like service, volunteering on my neighborhood board, taking on roles at VUU, knowing my neighbors, helping my disabled friend with yard work. It looks like relationships, real relationships with the people who make my coffee at my neighborhood coffee spot, Bang Bang. Yep, that's the name, Bang Bang Coffee. And yes, BSing with my favorite bartender at the little Italian restaurant down the street. Because relationships matter to me more than ever, especially now, when isolation is so common, when strangers pass one another without a glance, and when so many people are crying out to be seen, heard, and especially understood. I see it on my daily dog walks, people 2 feet away, earbuds in, eyes down, no hello. I wonder if their earbuds are for their music and podcasts, or if they're actually for avoidance. And then there's Carl, the unhoused man who comes regularly for his coffee at Bang Bang. Look, I'm going to start crying on this one too. Everyone knows Carl. They say his name, they talk to him, because Carl is part of our community. Carl is valued. And I'm inspired by my pug, Art, who reminds me daily that it's okay to curl up and take a nap, to overeat once in a while, or a lot, and ask for what I want, and to listen, to really listen to what my people have to say. And I'm inspired by my garden too. It's a relationship that goes both ways. I tend it, talk to it, water it, harvest it, and it gives me beauty, nourishment, and a deep sense of belonging. I believe in caring more about people than things, caring more about my pets than my wood flooring, caring more about resistance than my personal safety, caring more about effort and dedication than I do about measurable results, and in speaking my truth more than trying to please everyone. Yes, there are still miracles that I cannot begin to understand. Magic still happens, unexpected and unexplainable, and there is still joy, great joy. But for me, these things are not tied to a God anymore. In closing, let me say this. May we be brave enough to question, kind enough to love regardless, and humble enough to admit that we may not have it all figured out, but yet still show up with an open heart. Amen.
One of the gifts and the challenges of Unitarian Universalism is that we are a pluralist congregation. We are people who gather not because we all believe the same thing, but because we have chosen to walk together, to join together with a set of shared values. In many religious traditions, belonging begins with belief. You accept a doctrine or affirm a specific theology, and then you belong. In Unitarian Universalism, we turn that equation around. Belonging comes first. Belief unfolds over time. This can feel liberating. It can also feel disorienting, especially for those who were raised with structured religion. When someone new walks into a UU community, they may ask, "What am I supposed to believe here?" And the honest answer is, that is something you will discover and perhaps rediscover again and again. The value of pluralism is about the recognition that truth is not singular, static, or owned by any one tradition or person. It acknowledges that our spiritual lives are shaped by culture, experience, trauma, joy, curiosity, doubt, and wonder. It trusts that meaning can be found in many places: scripture and science, poetry and protest, meditation and music, ancient wisdom and lived experience. Like all our UU values, pluralism is a lived practice. It asks us to sit next to someone who may have very different belief systems from our own and listen with generosity and loving acceptance rather than defensiveness. It asks us to hold our convictions with humility, knowing that they are shaped by where we have been, not by universal certainty. And it asks us to resist the temptation to believe that our own spiritual path is the one. Rather, it's more true to say that it's simply the path we are on right now. For many of us, our journey into Unitarian Universalism did not begin with clarity and decisiveness. Perhaps it began with longing. Perhaps we were seeking a place where questions were welcomed rather than silenced, or a place where science and spirituality were not in conflict, or a place where our full selves, our identities, our doubts, our evolving beliefs were not just tolerated, but celebrated. We may have arrived carrying spiritual wounds. We may have been hungry for a place that could hold both grief and hope. We may have been looking for a place for our children to grow up, learning how to think ethically, compassionately, and freely. Some of us arrived here because we were tired of pretending to believe something that no longer aligned with our values. In a pluralist congregation, finding our spiritual home is not about arriving at a final destination. It's about learning how to walk our own path while staying in relationships with others who are walking theirs. There are moments when pluralism can feel uncomfortable, when someone's theology challenges us, or when we worry that if everything is allowed, then maybe nothing really matters. But pluralism is not about the absence of values. It's grounded in shared commitments to dignity, to justice, to compassion, to the ongoing search for truth and meaning. What holds us together is not sameness. What holds us together is our covenant to treat each other with respect, our intention to listen deeply, and our intention to remain in relationship even when we disagree. We support one another as we grow, change, and sometimes contradict our former selves. When we think about our spiritual lives in this way, it's not about trying to fit into one category of belief or another. It's about a process of exploration of what feels true and right to us. It's about listening deeply to ourselves, noticing what resonates within us, and seeking more of that which helps us feel a sense of meaning. What lights you up inside? What brings you a sense of deep comfort and connection? And we are not asked to rush this process. Spiritual identity is not something we hurry up and figure out and finalize. It's something we tend, like a garden, like Bobby was talking about the garden. And this garden changes with the seasons, sometimes with beautiful blossoms and sometimes weeds, and often both at once. Sometimes it might go dormant for a while, and then new shoots spring up again. There may be years when our beliefs feel clear and grounded, and years when they feel uncertain and undefined. There may be times when we lean into humanism and science, or earth-centered spirituality, or the teachings of Jesus or the Buddha, or the wisdom of poets and activists. This mosaic of beliefs and spiritual influences is one of my favorite aspects of Unitarian Universalism. What matters most is not that we arrive at the same conclusions, but that we continue to walk with curiosity, integrity, and care for one another. To find our home within the UU community is not to say, I finally know what I believe. And it's certainly not about adopting the beliefs of others. To find our home here is to say, this is a place where I am allowed to be me, wholly and completely, wherever I am in my journey of belief or non-belief. May this new year invite us deeper into pluralism, not as an abstract ideal, but as a practice of humility and acceptance of ourselves and each other. May we continue to build a community where difference is not something to be managed, but something to be cherished. And may we remember that in Unitarian Universalism, home is not a place we arrive once and for all, but a relationship we choose again and again as we walk our unfolding spiritual paths together.
Thank you. That was a good transition. Thank you for all of the beautiful reflections today. You are not a human being in search of a spiritual experience. You are a spiritual being immersed in a human experience. Words by John O'Donohue. In a pluralist faith, we do not give because we all believe in the same things. We give because we have chosen to walk together. We give to sustain this community where questions are honored, where growth is expected, where no one is asked to be finished, certain, or complete. Our offerings support a living covenant a promise to listen deeply, to hold difference with care, and to remain in relationship even when our paths diverge. May these gifts help tend the garden of this community where many truths take root, where curiosity is welcomed, and where each of us is free to become who we are still becoming. Will the ushers please come forward for this morning's offering?
Even though you're sitting, we would love for you to sing while sitting if you know Auld Lang Syne as we are approaching our new year. Should old acquaintance be forgot and never brought to mind? Should old acquaintance be forgot and old lang syne? For old lang syne, my dear, for old lang syne, we'll take a cup of kindness yet for old lang syne. For old lang syne, my dear, for old lang syne, we'll take a cup of kindness yet for old lang syne.
In this new year, may we leave behind the weight of unfulfilled resolutions, of unrealized dreams, and of unrealistic expectations.
May we unpack the heavy weight of stories that tell us we are unworthy and unlovable.
May we remember that we each carry inside of us the spark of the divine.
In this new year, may we carry kindness, gentleness, and hope that hold us through even the hardest days and the most daunting risks.
May we carry the weight of memory that reminds us who we are, and the weight of spirit that reminds us we are still becoming.
May we carry the seed of knowledge that teaches us that improvement and growth aren't linear and individualistic, but are cynical and communal.
May we carry the wisdom to seek rest and connection and lean into mutual care.
May we carry the certain belief that when we have patterns of thinking and behaving that harm ourselves and others, we can seek resources that will help us move towards healing.
May we carry the knowledge that happiness and success take many shapes, and one of those shapes is purpose.
May we carry purpose lightly, trusting that it changes and evolves and surprises us.
May we carry curiosity, wonder, and the ability to be surprised.
This year, may we carry space for all of our flaws, all of our longings, and all of our love, remembering that the truly daring adventure of life is not to be better, better, best, but to show up wholly, authentically, lovingly as ourselves.
May we carry these prayers and carry each other into the new year.
If you are willing and able to stand and join us for Everyone Born, this is a social justice song, and you are welcome to use the word God or all, whichever you prefer. For everyone born, a place at the table. For everyone born, clean water and bread. A shelter, a space, a safe place for growing. For everyone born, a star overhead. And all will delight when we are creators of justice and joy, compassion and peace. Yes, all will delight when we are creators of justice, justice and joy. For gay or for straight, a place at the table, transgender and queer, in one single tree, engaging each gift and blessing each covenant, for gay or for straight, a new way to be. And all will delight when we are creators of justice and joy, compassion and peace. Yes, all will delight when we are creators of justice, justice and joy. Regardless of age, a place at the table, a voice to be heard, a part in the song. The hands of a child in hands that are wrinkled, at every life stage, a place to belong. And all will delight when we are creators of justice and joy, compassion and peace. Yes, all will delight when we are creators of justice, justice and joy. For just and unjust, a place at the table, abuser abused with need to forgive. In anger and hurt, a mindset of mercy, for just and unjust, a new way to live. And all will delight when we are creators of justice and joy, compassion and peace. Yes, all will delight when we are creators of justice, justice and joy.
I would like to invite Janice and Bobby back up to extinguish our chalice. They wanted to do it together. Please join me in the chalice extinguishing words. Though we extinguish the chalice, our connection to each other and this community remains. May its light guide us this week as we walk the path of justice, speak words of love, and fill our world with compassion until we meet again. Go in peace.
Another one, two. 1, 2, 3, and
Another year with deep divine. Laugh around the cold and bitter night. map our way, maps the stars. So hold on tight to fragile hearts and keep our friends forever by your side.
We could be
it's a creation of the days to come. The city's on fire, we're holding up lighters, raising them higher, and it'll only be